Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Blue-Red Delver Burn. We have lots of burn spells. We've got 3 Chain Lightnings. We've got 4 Lightning Bolts, and of course we've got the Delver creatures. Delver of Secrets, the Crazy Insect itself, and we have Dragon Rage Channel. Arguably the best 1-drop in the format, but you have to play red, which is arguably the weakest color, in order to tap that power. We also, in this build, are playing 2 Questing Druid. Previously, I didn't have any way to get ahead of on cards, but Questing Druid does give you the possibility of a 3-for-1. Let's read the card. So, exile the top 2 cards. If you pay 1 colorless, 1 red, you get this adventure. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the next end step. You may play the cards that play. So you can play lands, you can play, Mishra's Baubles, you can play other stuff that you flip. Almost everything in our deck costs 1 mana, so you're likely going to be able to use those cards unless you get 2 lands, for example, which does happen. Or you get a Murktide. But in a lot of cases, you are going to get a 3-for-1, because then you can cast the back half of this and you get a creature. Whenever you cast a spell that's white, black, blue, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on Questing Druid. And this is kind of hard to cast in a blue-red deck, so we do have a single tropical island which we can fetch if we think we're going to need to play this, but this should scale very quickly because every other spell in our deck is blue or red, and so it's not unusual for this to become a 5/5, 6/6, even potentially racing like Murktides and stuff like that. Speaking of Murktide, we did cut 1 Murktide in order to make space for the Questing Druid. We also cut a Chain Lightning, and this also makes it so our Delvers are slightly less likely to flip. We have 23 instants and sorceries for a 38.3% chance of flipping Delver blindly, but we do have cards to manipulate the likelihood of flipping the Delver, and we are going to be fetching lands out of our deck, which slightly increases that probability. But the name of the game is hit our opponents hard and kill them quickly, and we're going to be playing very aggressively, and I'm going to be suppressing a lot of my control player instincts and doing things that you might be like, why did you just do that? That you so much value. But really, like, this deck cannot win longer games unless you're up against like a plow deck. You absolutely need to be super duper aggressive. Against like Eldrazi and stuff, like, you can win technically off Chain Lightning. Speaking of Eldrazi, I've got 2 Price of Progress here. This card just completely slaughters it, and I love casting this against them. Especially when they're tapping Ancient Tomb, and like pretty much every land in their deck is non-basic. It's just a great way to end there. Let's jump over to the other sideboard cards. We've got 2 Grafdigger's Cage, very good against Oops All spells, which I keep playing against. Played against it twice in the previous league. And it also is good against Nadu Zenith decks, and it's good against Reanimator. We have a Meltdown, which is just kind of a okay card against a lot. Like, I got a 5-for-1 in one of my videos where I just like melted down all their artifact lands and their artifacts against Black Saga Storm. That was fun. And then we've got 1 Force of Negation for like the Glass Cannon combo deck matchups, high Necro Dominance and Oops All spells being the main ones. And then we've got a Hydroblast for the red decks. We've got 3 Consigns for Eldrazi and for Karnforge. We've got In the Festivities, which is a really cool pet card of mine. I did a league where I just got completely destroyed playing a very similar deck to what I'm playing here. I think I went 1-4. So I don't want you to get the impression like, oh, Be Excellent always wins. He's like the best player ever. No. If I do like a league, and sometimes this happens, and I just get completely destroyed, I will not publish that league because nobody wants to watch me just toiling and getting destroyed unless they're a total sadist. But this card is very good against the card that beat me in 3 separate games, which was Baleful Strix. I went against Baleful Strix 3 times in a row. And Baleful Strix is very bad against Dragon Rage Channeler. Like, it basically is a 2-for-1, guaranteed, and it totally kills your momentum. This not only kills Baleful Strix, it kills Bowmaster, which a lot of Baleful Strix decks are also playing for Bowmasters, and it potentially kills their army, and it can potentially hit like to a Kaito or a Teferi or a lot of these other Planeswalkers. It can kill a Narset that's just chilling there with 1 loyalty. So this is a pretty good, well-rounded card, and it does a damage to your opponent, which plays into our direct damage strategy. So I'm excited to use this, and I'm excited very much to Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast. We got 4 of these babies against bigger blue control decks, which I expect to encounter. I've been encountering a ton of Jeskai in the leagues, and I expect that we will eventually start encountering Beanstalk. For some reason, people like don't immediately jump to Beanstalk. They jump to Jeskai when they think it's safe to play control again, but like Beanstalk is so much better. check out some of my Beanstalk videos. I may try Jeskai control at some point, but it's just not like as good in my humble opinion. But like this is really good against Jeskai control, and we'll see whether we get a chance to blast some Jaces and stuff like that. So as always, we're going to play a full 4 rounds, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope you leave comments with timestamps where you see me making punts that I don't catch myself, because frankly, like there's a lot of new stuff to learn here, and I hope you're going to learn along with me, and your comments help other people in the comment section who are like reading and watching, like, wait, why did BX line that? Was that a mistake? Probably. Make a timestamp, point out the mistake, and we'll all learn from it. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against a man after my own heart, Hunding D. Jorgensen on Jornerson. Sorry, it's like a very long Scandinavian name. But this person plays a lot of Esper Vial, which I love. I think it's a great deck, and I'm too scared to play it in paper generally at like a major tournament because I know I'm going to go to time. But it's a fun deck. Okay, this hand, we're on the play, which is great. And this hand is not particularly good. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan it. Not particularly good, not even remotely playable. This is also very unfortunate because you don't want to be mulliganing this deck generally. But we have to. This is a hand. They do play Wasteland. I think what we do is we start with the island and we just drop a Delver and we hope to flip Delvers. So we had to put back 2 cards. I'm going to put back Chain Lightning, which not the best. And I think we put back... I don't want to put back Daze because if I can Daze the Vial, that's so good. I think I'm going to have to put back... I mean, Brainstorm can help us flip our Ponders. Or flip our Delvers. I think I'm going to keep the Brainstorm. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to drop Delvers several consecutive turns. All right, let's fetch. We're going to get the basic island again like cowards because Esper Vial does play Wasteland and we've got a lot of blue cards that we want to cast here. The good news is they don't play Chalice of the Void or anything that will stop us from playing these spells. But they do also play a lot of Baleful Strixes and Bowmasters. So time is not really on our side here. All right, they're fetching. Scrubland. This is a clean PE, but this is precisely what I was saying about like just being able to Daze. This is so much value. Their deck is absolutely dependent on this to break parity and like get stuff out quickly. So the way we race them is we cut them off that card and then like hopefully we rip like a Wasteland would be great. Tropical Island. I'm not going to reveal it. I'll draw it. And I think what we do is we just go ahead and attack and we drop another Delver. And if they have land Bowmaster, we're totally screwed because we're going to lose our dude. But if they don't have it, then we've got a chance here. And there's an argument for just holding the Brainstorm and oh, this is so good. They didn't have the second land and now they have the Lorien. And so we do have a window in which we can potentially flip. They are plowing one of them, which is fine. Okay, I do want to do the upkeep Brainstorm just to ensure that, well, we can't ensure actually because we don't have another instant, but I'm going to assume that we do have something on top of our deck. I want to hit them hard and I want to shuffle stuff away, but I think double Daze is fine and we're going to draw this land. Oh no, I screwed up the sequencing. I put the land on top. Shame concession. I'm not going to concede, but I did screw up. I screwed up big. Every damage matters. So I'm sorry to start the league off with such a big punt, but I did just punt really hard there. Yeah. Sorry, my excellent friends. We totally should have flipped that and we should have hit for 3, but we are going to hit for 3 next turn, but it's probably going to be too late. The good news is these Dazes are good against them because they do seem to be choked on mana. Not anymore. But their deck is very mana hungry. Okay, we're going to concede. I mean, we could go ahead and double Daze this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and double Daze it. Like, I'm not going to concede. If we concede, we're 100% to lose. If we don't concede, we're, only like 95% to lose. Okay. Sure, go ahead and pay for it. Okay, and now, I know we're drawing a dead card, but we do have some hope. They may just force this. Okay. Live to swing another day. Again, we wouldn't have had to do any of that stuff if we had just flipped the Delver because it would have been out of Bowmaster range. So my punt was huge. Okay, Chain Lightning. Maybe a relevant card later. I do respect Wasteland. I'm just going to play this out. And we're going to attack. And we just have to do this, what, like 5 more times against their deck that has like Baleful Strix and Plow and gosh knows what. Okay, they're archiving here. Again, a single... oh, wow, they're bending the Vial. Okay, this is Strix, precisely what we feared. We are drawing wild here. We could draw a fetch into a Chain Lightning to clear the path, but either way, they are going up a card here. I think we're going to be way better off post-board because Pyroblast will do some serious work against their deck. Okay, this is pretty good because now we can go ahead and get this out of the way and hit them again. I'm glad I play so many removal spells to clear the way for our Insectile Aberration to hit. Now let's see whether they have a Plow here. They only have 480 cards, but they do have Solitude. So if the situation gets desperate, they can pitch cast Solitude. They can also hard cast Solitude if they have the 5th land. And that will probably be a game. I think I have a good enough idea of what's likely in their deck. It's basically what I was playing with Esper Vial before Modern Horizons 3 and Frog was printed. Because Bowmasters, Baleful Strix, good cards. Black is still worth playing as a 3rd color. I do think it's a lot weaker now without Psychic Frog, but it's clearly not dead. I was afraid that Black would just be completely dead now, and people would just be doing blue-white or Jeskai or Bant. Lavinia doesn't matter. I say before I draw a Force of Will. Okay, Wasteland is fine. It sucks, but I'd rather them fire that at our land. Okay, they put Yorion into their hand. That is going to block our Insectile Aberration. We really need to draw... What can we draw? Oh, Murktide Regent. That's a good draw. All right, let's go ahead and swing. I was like, what can we draw? Like the best creature in Legacy, basically? One of them, for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make it full size just in case they... I don't think I have a lot to lose by making it full size. Hopefully, yeah. They actually already know our last card, so there's not really a good reason to hold that. And they could have been playing like the one-off Daze. Like I sometimes play Daze, a single Daze in my Esper Vial deck. Here's Yorion. This is great for us if this is the best they can do because Yorion's on chump duty. Oh, Solitude. Yeah, that does it too. All right, so they're going to hit that. And I don't think we have a lot of hope because they can just blink their Solitude and hit us. Yeah, we do have a lot of life, and we could just draw a bolt, bolt, bolt. Force doesn't do anything here. I'm going to play this out. Just hopefully they go for the Trop instead of the Volk. One can dream. We're not under any time pressure or anything, so I'm just going to keep playing. I definitely don't mind losing to my favorite deck. They are going to gain some life here. Yeah, I mean, Solitude basically puts victory out of reach for us. And now they can put in Yorion. Abandon all hope. Yehu Inner here. I think that's what's happening here. I'm not even going to wait for them to blink their stuff. I'm not going to play to the clock. They're a very efficient player who's piloted this deck to many trophies over the past year or so. Let's take a look at their record. Yeah, I mean, like this is basically since earlier this year they started playing. I mean, this is this also Esper Vial? Yeah, they were playing Esper Vial all the way back in 2022. So they have way more experience with the deck than I do even. They're one of the few kind of torchbearers of the archetype. And again, the reason the deck doesn't get more love is people don't like playing Yorion. Like people always complain, like, how can you play Yorion? Yorion's the worst. Okay, so I think price is coming in because they do have basics, but they don't have that many. And we need to be able to win. I also think these come in. Yeah, definitely bringing in the Pyros. I think in the festivities is good because they're playing Baleful Strix. Consign is cute because you can stop, ETB triggers. You can stop Yorion like when they exile their creatures and stop it from coming back into play. But like, let's get real. Like that's not going to work. Daze, actually on the play, I think Daze is fine. But okay, so I think we could bring back in a Daze. I don't want to cut my Wastelands because they do have a lot of targets for Wasteland that we can hit. I mean, this might be one of the ones where we cut Questing Druid just because it feels like so slow. Brazen Borrower is pretty bad. Like, I think I'm going to cut Brazen Borrower and I'm going to put my Dazes back in. And the reason is I don't expect them to have any sort of KO card. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually just play with 3 of the blast effects and not 4. Because I do think Daze will be good. Oh, is it good? Is it good? I'm so indecisive. Meltdown does hit their Vial and potentially their Baleful Strix, but that's really it. I don't think that's worth bringing in. Yeah, I'm going to keep the Dazes. And we're just going to do 3 blasts. We can't tone back our aggression at all. We have to go balls to the wall against this deck. This deck is the Apex Predator. The only deck that I think is even higher on the Apex Predator list would be, in terms of like just having inevitability over the long game, would probably be Death and Taxes itself. That deck, you just cannot beat it if the game goes on long enough. But you can potentially beat Esper Vial because they are a blue deck, and blue decks are like slightly less favorite. Oh man, another Heartbreaker over hand. I don't want to risk it. I'm going to mulligan this. This is a terrible hand. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But we do have the Questing Druid. So I'm going to keep. I will put back one of our Volks. No, I'll put back a Trop. Like, I can go fetch this later. I don't want to get wasted off of red because I decided to keep a Trop around. All right. So I think first things first, I'm going to ponder, and if I see a DRC, I'll hold the Bauble for DRC. Otherwise, I'll probably just go ahead and fire off the Bauble. This ponder should give us some good insight into what we're likely going to do this game, though. We want to find a Daze if we can, just for Vial. These cards are great. I don't want the land, but I might want the land. I definitely want the Pyro and the Festivities. So I am going to go ahead and use the Bauble now, and we're going to draw through these. Yeah, we'll draw them all. I think it's fine. They do play some cards that go after our mana, like Wasteland and stuff, and so it's not bad to be able to access our basic. Also, getting this out of the way before their Bowmasters come down. They likely have 4 Bowmasters. Oh, there's one right there. Good to know about. Luckily, Questing Druid does not draw cards. Unluckily, oh yeah, and End the Festivities very cleanly answers Bowmasters. Makes it a like 1-for-1. Which I'm here for. They don't have any non-basic land hate that affects us. Like, they may have Harbinger, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just slam this. We're going to set up our next few draws. A Delver is fine, but we don't want to do that until after, and they may not actually use it. A second Pyroblast is not bad. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just put I'll go like this. I'm not going to overthink it too much. I mean, Delver won't flip now, but next turn, we're probably going to want to quest. We're probably going to want to end and then Questing Druid during their turn. So we have Pyroblast up, which might be good. I'll Pyroblast literally anything and take a trade because I know that they're not going to be able to. They could just hold up Bowmaster, and that's fine, but I don't think that's a winning strategy against us. Like, I do think that well, maybe it is. Okay, Tundra. Okay, they are holding up Bowmasters. So what we can do is we can just hold a Questing Druid here. So we're drawing the Volk next turn, I believe. We can't play out this Delver. I'm just going to hold up Questing Druid with Pyro, and we'll just do this during their end step, and then we'll be ready to Pyro. I mean, we could potentially find a Daze off of the Questing Druid in the end step. If they're really smart, they won't let us go to end step. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. Yeah, because if we find, let's take the Beast here. I would love for them to force here. Okay, we didn't find. Wow, it's 3 cards. You get 3 cards in exile. I didn't realize you got 3 cards in exile. No, wait, it itself is in exile. Okay, we didn't get the other one. So we have a land and we have a Delver. That's pretty good. I'm gonna let this resolve. They're gonna ping us. Next turn, we're gonna end the Festivities with Pyroblast back up, and then we can drop our Delver. And I would love for them to play out like Baleful Strix, like just dump your X1s onto the table for me, please. Lorien Cycling. Okay, I think they likely have a second Bowmasters here. Maybe. We'll see after combat. I'm going to blast this and see if they fight over it. I don't think they will. The other alternative is to just let this resolve and kill it with the and the festivities. And that may actually get them to put even more emphasis on letting it resolve. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bait them into forcing. I suspect, there's a high likelihood they have a force in hand at this point. They've seen 13 of their 80 cards. All right. So we're going to start with this Volk. That feels good. Now we're going to go ahead and end. This is a great card. Wow, just get them. That feels so good. So good. Boom. And I'm just going to play the other one. Boom. Plague Engineer could totally wreck our day. If it doesn't, we've got lots of stuff up. We're not going to... I think our top card... Do we know what our top card is? No, because we used the... So we're drawing wild, and there's a decent chance that we flip these. Please play like a Teferi or something. Don't play a Bowmaster. Oh, this is going to get blasted. We're going to make efficient use of our blasts. Okay, Bojuka Bog shocked. Love to see it. This is the Bowmaster. Overlord, sure. This is slow. They have to have Felia to pair with this. This is a great card. If you haven't seen it, basically you get Impending, and it's basically like a 5-drop for 2 mana. And then this does trigger Beanstalk, by the way, if they have Beanstalk, but they're not in a Beanstalk build. But then with Felia, you can flip it, and you suddenly get the 5/5. Unfortunately for them, it does not fly. So they get to remove one of the counters. Let's see if we can flip. Probably got like a 36% chance of flipping here. Oh, with the best card. I think we're going to win this game. I don't know that we're going to win this match, but I think we're going to win this game. Let's go ahead and go to combat first. Feels so good to Delver people. Even my own people. Like, this guy is 100% like who I would like to be. I would love to be playing this deck, but I got to take a break from it. And yeah, let's bust out the Questing Druid. This is doing exactly what we wanted to. It was like a literal 3-for-1. And now they've got to address so much stuff. And we've got double Pyroblast up, and they know it. They're plowing one. I can't interact. They can Felia here and block and potentially attack next turn if they have Felia in their hand. But I am going to keep the pressure on. I'm going to keep attacking. Another Delver. I mean, this does buff the Questing Druid, so I'm going to play pre-combat. Let's go to combat. Felia would be good, but I will Pyroblast nothing to kill Felia in combat. Solitude here. Pitch cast. Pitching Felia. Sure. Yep, they're removing the Delver. So we're just dealing 2 damage here, which is fine. I'm not to the point where I'm going to fire off Pyroblast just to deal more damage. But we might get to that point. Pyroblast is just so good against a lot of the cards they have that are really scary, like Teferi. Pass. Here's the Felia in the end step. They can use this to flip Overlord. We can't do anything about it. They can also use it to flip Delvers. So they are going to... So we may not actually win this game, is what I'm saying. They are going to have like a lot of value, and they're going to have a 5/5 that can contend with our... yeah. They're targeting that, which makes sense. Okay. We're not going to block. If we flip, we do have a chance. Okay, they're plowing this, which is fine. That was going to be blocked anyway by the thing that's coming back. They can grab a Solitude here if they have a white card in hand. Oh, wait, they can't grab it this turn. They can grab it next turn. One of the strengths of this deck is it's just got so many different colors. Gilded Drake would be good, potentially. I can blast that. What do they take? Oh, they do get the card now. Yep, and we're dead. Like, we could rip like bolt after bolt, and that might do something here, but yeah, we're not in a good place. Another Seek the Beast would be great, but yeah, this deck is just dismantling us. Let me know if you want me to play it again. So I think here I actually am going to Brainstorm into this. Like, it's inadvisable, but yep, we're dead. There's no coming back from that. All right. Shout out to Huntington Jornerson for continuing to rep the Aether Vial If you want me to play more Aether Vial, say so in the comments. I will definitely play this deck. I love playing this deck. It's just that like a lot of people are like, but this isn't a serious deck that you're going to play at Eternal Weekend. And they're right. Like I'm not going to go through 11 rounds playing this deck that you have to like, play the time almost every round. And it's a total brain melter of a deck. It's one of the harder creature-based strategies to play. We're up against Goldrot, and I've played against this person recently, but I can't remember what they're on. I seem to recall it being like a fair strategy. This is a snap keep. This hand is strong. We're going to keep this. We're just going to open Dragon Rage Channeler. We might protect our Dragon Rage Channeler with a Force depending on what they do. So I'm just going to go ahead and fetch the Volk. One great thing about this deck is since every land in the deck is an island, you don't really have to think too much about sequencing. And we've got a great turn 2 lined up. We can potentially ponder and bolt if we need to dig really deep. It depends on if we need to hold the Force, then we're gonna have to hold the Force with the ponder. But otherwise, we can do more. So let's see what they do here. Fetching. Again, I will force to defend this. Okay. Snow-covered island or snow-covered plains. So they likely think that I might be playing Stifle, and that's why they're doing that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had interaction. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now. They may plow in response just because realizing the error of their ways and letting me get any value out of this. We don't need a land. Go into the graveyard. Okay, let's go ahead and see what is in their deck. Ice Fang Quaddle. They're on like Bant. Like good Bant, like non-Nadu, hopefully. They could be on just like a kind of janky 4-color version of Alurin. Okay, well, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to fearlessly bolt them because I do want to surveil something to the yard, and I don't want to get off of Force in case they do have... Okay, another bolt. I think that can go to the graveyard. Maybe it's greedy to put that in the graveyard because we do know that they have... they're several turns away from being able to do that. Yeah, I think we're just going to bin that. Okay, and now we're going to attack, and we do have a chance if they decide to plow now to Force and get crazy. They are doing it, and I am going to force this. If they have a Daze, I'll feel really dumb for not playing out my land. This is another card that we can put into our graveyard. We're still not delirious. We're just dealing 1 damage, but we've already gotten a tremendous amount of value out of this. Yep, and I will just play this land and pass. So there's definitely a chance that we draw a land next turn. I might actually fetch just a Thin here. We'll see whether they... Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah, so I'm not going to fetch the Thin now because I can brainstorm this back. Okay, they're not pernicious or Prismatic Ending, which is great. They may have Plow Up, though. They're 1 land away from being able to use that card that they drew. Oh, that's a bad land. I'm going to go ahead and Brainstorm first. They're not representing Bowmasters. Whoosh, that's definitely going into our graveyard. It's worth noting that, let's see, 2 of our 6 lands are in the graveyard. Okay, this is fine. Chain Lightning does flip her. And we also... I don't think these lands are particularly important. I don't think they're coming after our land. I can go ahead. I could just surveil these away, but I'm gonna fetch. I don't want either of these lands. In case they are playing, I mean, it may look like really dangerous to be going as low as we are going in terms of lands that we can actually play out. Like we have 1 land left in our deck that we can play basically. Or we have the Trop. Yeah, it's going in the graveyard too. So we have the Trop and we have the basic island. I'm just going to go and get some more information about them real quick. Ephemerate. Okay, that's scary. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Ephemerate deck, but I'm going to try. This does give me Delirium, and it gets them a little lower. This is a card that, assuming they don't have their 3rd land, this is good. I think I'm going to keep it. This means that they have to have 2 removal spells to kill us. Okay, let's go ahead and hit them, and they're dropping a 9. But again, they have an insane card against us. The Snake, Ice Fang Quaddle. That's really good against us. This is interesting. Like we're playing a deck that like really punishes combo decks and doesn't really want to pair into control decks, and we paired into 2 fair control decks in a row. Okay, there is The snake, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be pondering, looking for some interaction, but they can ephemerate it. So it's bad news, essentially. It's very bad news. Okay, Chain Lightning. I think I'm going to ponder here. So if they block, then we could just let it die, and then we could Murk. But I think likely what they're going to do is they're going to ephemerate it to draw a bunch of cards. I want to find a force. If I find a force, then I can pitch Murktide. And we can just hope that the Ephemerate just doesn't have a target. That's going in the graveyard. DRC saved us from so many bad draws this game. Questing Druid is not bad. Do we want Questing Druid? We can't use it immediately. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see whether they're willing to Ephemerate the snake. I do want the Questing Druid. So what I can do is I don't want that Wasteland at all. So I'll put it on top and then I'll Chain Lightning. And then I will attack. Then they're going to bring out the snake. They're probably going to Ephemerate with lethal on the stack. They're going to get to draw 2 cards. That is not necessarily death for us because we have the follow-up Murktide. And Questing Druid may be able to flip us some good cards. So I'm going to put this on the bottom. Then I'm going to put this, and then I'm going to draw this. This is a very hard deck to play. Okay, let's play this. Boom. You're at 5. Buy land. Let's go ahead and attack. I don't know that it's safe for them to block and Ephemerate, but I still think that's likely what they're going to do here. They may just take the trade, which would be great. Yep. Are they going to Ephemerate here? I think they should, but they're not going to kill my DRC if they Ephemerate this. They took the trade. All right. Now they could still have they're a Yorion deck, so their plows are a little fewer and farther between. Even though the Questing Druid has killed a legendary creature, it itself is not a legendary creature. Teferi. That does make Questing Druid a little more awkward. And it also represents something that can bounce our Murktide, but that's not a big deal. Maybe they minus right now? I would minus. I would be looking for force in case I have like double bolt. Okay. All right, so we're going to draw a fetch here. So we've already played our land drop. I don't think Questing Druid is correct. I am going to go ahead and play out this Murk. And I'm going to make it... It only needs to be 5 power. I'll get rid of some lands here. 1. I will get rid of 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it should be a 5/5 if I counted correctly. And that is big enough that they had to bounce it before they can really do anything. It's a 6/6. Okay, I overdid it. We're still going to be able to make it big enough next turn, but we might hurt our Delirium prospects a little bit. I do have the Trop to be able to cast this out, but I don't want to. This is the Plow. That's fine. Questing Druid is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting here. What we're basically going to have to hope to do is Questing Druid, and it doesn't get forced somehow through some miracle. Okay, is this something they can Ephemerate? Green Sun. Do they have Nadu in their deck? What are they? Maybe they're just going for value cards. Okay, this is just the straight Ephemerate deck. Okay, so Matthew, my friend Matthew from here in Dallas, if you're watching, it looks like they're playing your deck that you wanted to play. My friend was like all hyped about building this, but basically you can create like these infinite loops and stuff. It's really strong. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and Seek the Beast now, and they're likely to force. We have to do it during our main phase. Okay, that's a terrible card. Let's go ahead and do this. Actually, I think I am going to go ahead and get my Trop here because I'm going to need it eventually. If I find... I want to keep a red up here in case I do flip. Something. Again, I have like very little hope for winning here, but I'm going to try for it. Like double bolt could do it, but we can only bolt once. We do have a Chain Lightning. And we have a Brazen Borrower that we can't cast. Okay, so I'm just going to bolt here. and I am going to bolt them. Drop them to 2. Now this fetch is going to be painful for them, and they are not going to be able to force stuff soon. So Questing Druid will come down next turn. It'll probably just get... I mean, they can bounce it, but then that helps us get closer to our bolt. So Borrower is no longer something we can use, unfortunately. It would have been great if we had the mana to do it, but what we would have done is end-stepped the Druid instead, but Teferi prevented that. So they did fetch down to 1. But they can plow their own creatures to get back into the game if they need to. They bend a Teferi. They can draw a ton of cards, and they can probably get their Ephemerate loop going. So basically, like, you Ephemerate, and then you go and you get this, and you buy back the Ephemerate, and you just draw, like, so many cards. It's not like an infinite combo, but there's so much value that it just can't be overwhelmed. Like, this might even be able to, like, out Apex Predator, Esper Vial, and D&T in terms of the sheer value that it's capable of. So they're going to get back Plow, I bet. Maybe get back Ice Fang. Yeah, they're getting back Plow. So they can Plow if we bolt. Our best draw off the top is one of our many remaining bolts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3 bolt effects left in our deck. Is that correct? Oh, we only have 2. Yeah, so it's not like super likely. I'm not going to concede yet. Their deck takes a ton of time to win. And I probably will just let them play it out because, frankly, if you're playing a deck that is very powerful but takes a long time to win, you should have to play that out to win. You shouldn't give your opponent like a free roll. I'm going to go ahead and hit their Caracas here. And I'm going to play this out just because it's forward momentum, even if they can plow it. Now I'm just going to F6 for the rest of the match. At the very least, we're going to recoup some time on our clock. There's the plow. Can't interact. Here's the Ephemerate. I'm going to go ahead and narrate what they're doing just because it might be of interest to you rather than just completely check out. So they are going to buy back their Ephemerate, I think. They might buy back plow just to save themselves from getting burned out. This is going to be a hard deck to beat because they're not playing very many non-basics. Because Ice Fang Coatl necessitates snow lands, and there aren't any snow duels, to my knowledge. So we're not going to be able to price of progress them for a win. They are likely to stabilize it like 1 life and stuff. They are not able to force currently. They will be able to force next turn. They're minusing Teferi to draw. That does turn back on our Daze here, so I'm going to keep it up just in case. Wow, we're going to get to Daze something. I will Daze like literally anything I have the opportunity to Daze. Are they thinking better of it? They're thinking better of it. They're going to attack first for 1. 2. They're not attacking. Interesting. Okay, please play your thing. That thing you were about to play, please play it. Tap your creature too. Just do a 4-drop. They are casting probably a Teferi around Daze Protection. Oh, they're just getting Yorion. Well, this Daze is going to be terrible. So we have a very small window to draw a bolt, and we draw it. That has got to be super tilting to them because they just well, they can plow here, but it doesn't matter. Like, they can't force. I don't know what they do here. Force a negation. Oh, no. Yeah. That saves them. Wow. I didn't think about force negation. Like, very few decks play main deck force negation. Frankly, it's not worth playing. It's like a terrible card. But I guess if you're playing an 80 card deck, maybe you play it. Like, I have a single one in the sideboard, and like the moment Oops goes down, I'm not going to play Force Negation anymore. Force Negation is a modern card. A filthy modern player card. All right. No offense to the modern players, but I don't play modern, and I don't like to play modern cards unless I'm forced to by a toxic meta. All right, so we're F6ing through the turn again. Well, no, I'm not going to F6 because I do have this Daze that's back on. They can put their that into exile for the turn, and then they get it back, and then they can get back their Ephemerate, and then suddenly they're doing this loop again. They might buy back Force Negation just to prevent me from blowing them out if I magically draw the final bolt in my deck, 1 out of 30. I got extremely lucky to even draw that bolt. Okay, everything comes back. I don't think Consign to Memory is good in this matchup. Like, it's tempting because you can just blow them out, but like they have a 4/5 in play anyway. We're not going to win, and it's a very much a win more card. Like, if you're already winning, then you shouldn't need it. They will not be able to hard cast Force Negation, but they could pitch cast it here. They are covering their base. We could also get like Seek the Beast into Bolt. DRC is not going to do it. I'm just going to F6. I'm not even going to bother playing it out. Like, they just have so much stuff. I'm just going to wait, and if I draw a Bolt, I'll try to cast it, but like, I think the game's over. I'm just going to get back some clock here. They can win pretty quickly here. They can attack for 6 this turn. But I think it's extremely unlikely this Daze is relevant. Okay, they're attacking for 6. They could have just attacked without actually attacking with that. Delver. I think I'm going to go ahead and play these out because these are potentially lethal threats that they have to address. And Daze can be card selection if nothing else. Like, this is kind of like the Hail Mary turn. Yeah, so Daze into a Bolt would be good, obviously. They're just pitch casting this. They pitched an Ephemerate. They may have Ephemerate in hand. There's the Ephemerate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Daze this just to get a look. See if we can find a Bolt. We're not keeping anything but Bolt here. They're just paying for it. Okay, our trigger goes on the stack. It's going in the graveyard. Dazes are probably coming out. Well, no, not necessarily on the play. And I'm just going to F6 here. They can gain life when they attack, so now Bolt doesn't win anymore. We are almost at clock parity, though, so I'm just going to make them attack a few times. I do think if I queued in with Beanstalk instead of the list, like facing these opponents, I'd be much better off. And I was thinking about playing another Beanstalk League, but I just want to mix it up for you all and play a variety of decks. Like, I'll probably want to play Stifle Knot again this week. I'm not like a donation deck list kind of guy. Like, this doesn't have... So we still have the out of drawing Bolt. I think it's extremely unlikely. They have a hard castable Force Negation in hand, so Bolt is not going to work unless they somehow like tap out. So we're really just playing the clock here. But we did pull ahead on time there. Right. Murk. Not going to work. But it is going to come down just to potentially eat up more of their clock. And if they exile this is like basically an extra attack that they have to get through. Okay, they are going to do something here. Maybe a hardcast Force. Okay, and it's your turn again. Finish me. Okay, and we've just got one more turn cycle. They're at 6, so it doesn't matter what we draw. We're just going to let them go. Actually, they can't kill us this turn cycle unless they have another creature. They're doing 7, so they have to do another turn cycle. They're not playing Bowmasters. Okay, cards that are coming out. I'm just thinking while they finish me off here. Brazen Borrower is probably coming out. It's just not good against their deck. Like, almost maybe every single card in their deck has an ETB trigger. Pyroblast is good, though. I do think we bring that in. So we succeeded in getting about a minute ahead of them by playing it out, which is, maybe that doesn't matter. Did we see Greenstone Zenith? I don't think we did. I don't think Greenstone is like good enough in their deck to be that big of a deal. And the Festivities definitely comes in. It's just one of those matchups where it's really going to pull weight. Yeah, I think these are the cards I'm bringing in. Cards I'm taking out. Again, Borrower is a beater, but it's not like where we want to be. It trades. Paying 3 mana to trade with a snake is not good. I think we kind of need to keep Force in just because it does help our tempo plan. We can't take out a Wasteland. I mean, it hits Karakas. Maybe it helps. I think I could take out a couple Forces because we brought in the Pyros. Force does help defend our threats, but 2 for 1ing yourself, not the greatest. I think the last thing I'm going to take out is a Chain Lightning. They're not doing any damage to themselves, and in fact, they can gain life. So I think we're going to try to beat them with creatures here. No, I'm going to keep the Chain Lightning. I'm just going to take out another Force. Let's do it. So we keep all the direct damage, and we just slim down on interaction a little bit. Daze is fine because it's 1 for 1, ideally. Like if we're dazing at the right time, and if our opponent is getting too aggressive with casting their spells, trying to keep up with us. In the Festivities could have been the final point of damage. So I'm very excited to have that in my sideboard. Hopefully it'll come up. came up really strongly in the previous round, even though we didn't win. This is a great hand. I'm going to snap keep this. What we're going to hope to do is just keep slamming Delvers. My opponent's spending a lot of their precious clock deciding whether to keep, which I like to see. Again, I am playing to win here, not just to be polite, but so that's why I like the time angle works in my favor. Like you have to play to your outs. This is a horrible matchup for us. And if they do manage to run out of time because we make it to game 3, that is a potential way that we can win. All right, so let's see whether this flips. They most likely have like a plow for it if it does. DRC, that's a good rip. We're going to need to find a land first, but yeah. Okay, we're getting the MTGO spinner. Hopefully that doesn't afflict us too much in this game. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ponder first. We can't keep these. As much as I would like to, we need to find land. I'm going to go ahead and attack here. I would love to Daze a plow if they get jumpy with a Daze, or jumpy with a plow. No such luck. Next turn, we'll try again. Not hitting a land is unfortunate and improbable. It's unlikely. It's not impossible, but I think in 4 looks, we're probably like 80% to find at least one land there. Oh, this is a Daze. Give it to me. They're paying double for some reason. Why are they paying extra mana to do this? I'm going to protect. Doesn't make any sense. If we get a force off this, that'll be great. Yeah, that was just a misplay. Like, I don't know why my opponent paid 2 mana, 2 colors. I can't think of a practical reason where it would be beneficial to do that. Chain Lightning, we take it. Let's go find a land. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. At this point, I wouldn't mind finding a Wasteland or a Daze. We're just trying to stall out their progress long enough to deal the damage. There's double Wasteland. I mean, even given the composition of our hand, I think we take this. We have another ponder next turn, but I think we take both of these. I am going to hit the white source here. Oh, wait, we already played a freaking land. I didn't think about that. Damn, that's bad. Yeah, we had to replay our island because of the Daze. So now they do have like a 3-drop. Noble Hierarch. Yeah, that sucks. Now these Dazes are going to be, these Wastelands are going to be pretty embarrassing. Brainstorm. They're doing it after, like, that was bad sequencing in my humble opinion. They definitely should be looking for a, they have another land. I'm going to be really sad because I really punted by drawing those Wastelands. Okay, they don't have a land. This is a card that dies to a red spell. Oh, they do have a land. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to ponder and try to find another, like a red source land, and I feel really dumb for getting these Wastelands. Let's go ahead and ponder first because it's possible they don't plow immediately and we find a Daze. Force of negation. Okay. What did they pitch? They pitched Ice Fang. I mean, Ice Fang was an answer. I am going to just go ahead and take them off of this here. I should have attacked first. Yeah, that was kind of sloppy. So we know that I think we're not drawing a red source. So this is an embarrassing situation. If they have the snake, it's going to be really bad, but we don't have to attack into it. Yeah, like my sequencing was bad. My opponent's been playing badly, but I've been playing badly too. So again, I don't want to sound too harsh on my opponent. Like I'm definitely seeing flaws in my play as well. Okay, Teferi. Spellseeker. Yeah, this is a good card. They probably go get a plow here if they value their life total. If they get Ephemerate, I mean, that's the main card they go get. That does like belie a certain amount of hubris. Wrath of the Skies, okay. They're going to lose their own guy just to kill my guy. I don't think that's a good trade. And now they can't actually even Wrath to kill us. Like, why did they get Wrath of the Skies? I don't think that was a good call. Yeah, this is the dud card that we knew we were drawing. I'm going to cut them off blue again. If they have a land, they can still Wrath. But again, they're going to lose their Noble Hierarch unnecessarily. So I feel like we're just getting lucky with them making questionable calls. Green. Okay, another Noble Hierarch. They can attack us for 3 here, but it's not going to win the race. They Wrath. Now they kill 2 of these things just to kill ours. That's fine. I'll take 3. If I get a red source, I think I'm just going to be bolting their face. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. If we find a Wasteland, I probably still will do it, because then if they Wrath, they're literally like Armageddoning themselves. Not literally, but figuratively. Cards we don't care about. We can draw through certain things. At this point, I mean, we have the win across 2 turns in the form of these Chain Lightnings. I think we go for that. I do want to force them to have to Wrath their own board. We're not going to have Pyroblast up this turn cycle. This is not a great card here. So I think I'll actually put the Pyroblast on top and put this below it. Now I'm going to play this out. I'm going to go ahead and draw through this. I don't think they have like Hull Breacher or anything that can punish our draws. They might. They're drawing a Plow. We're going to blast them. And now they can not Wrath if they don't want to, but they're leaving themselves in trouble to Chain Lightning. Not necessarily dead, depending on what they have in their hand. We know at least one of their cards is bad, though. Yeah, we're really like hoping that they don't have an answer for this Chain Lightning here. They're just attacking us for 3. They are not going to be able to hard cast Force Negation here unless they have another land drop. I don't feel like I should be winning this game. I'm going to just go ahead and go for it. We know they don't have Force Blue card. We know one of their cards is Wrath. They can't Plow. Yeah, we got it. Oh, I did not expect to win that game. All right, we're doing pretty well on time. 10 minutes to their, probably 10 minutes as well. I didn't check their time. Daze feels bad here, like with all the dorks and everything. I think Force comes back in. We did see enough non-basics that price might get us over the line if they get too loose. I like direct damage. I mean, they have so many plows and stuff. Direct damage does, end the game. I don't know about taking out all the Dazes. I think we probably keep 2. Maybe we keep 3, and then we just don't do the price. I mean, price is a great way to like just end the game out of nowhere, but I don't know about it. Do I believe in it? Do I believe in price? I just want to be able to say the price is wrong. Let's do, I think 2 Dazes is fine. This is still like enough to have to make them like respect it. But like, if we can even get like 4 damage off this, it's pretty awesome. And they're not pressuring our life total at all, so this will basically be asymmetrical. All right, 10 minutes to 10 minutes. We got a heater of a hand with double threat, triple threat, and a force. I'm going to snap keep this. They have not done anything to disrupt our mana any of these games. So I think my DRC is likely to go uncontested. Or like my Volk, I can just Volk and then have force up. Okay, they're I don't know why they're brainstorming now. This is not the right time to brainstorm unless they have Lorien revealed. Did they show Lorien revealed in a previous game? I think that was our Esper opponent that had Lorien revealed. All right. So pro tip, like Bosch and Roll has this video series called Wizard School that he published like long time ago, but it's just gold. Okay, we got the pop. Wizard School. He's got videos for, I think, 3 of the big cards. Brainstorm, I think he's got one on Ponder, and then he's got one on Wasteland. And I strongly recommend watching those if you want to be a control mage. This is a Daze, if I've ever seen one. Is our opponent screwed on mana? Like, why are they not playing out land before they attempt to do this against a... that's going to give us Delirium in a few turns, won't it? Yeah, we've got other threats, so I think this is fine. Okay. And the shame land drop. Like, yeah, I'm glad I kept the Dazes in my deck. Okay. So we do have Delirium here if we just Chain Lightning, and I think we should. And then we can deploy the Delver later. They are a Wrath of the Skies deck, which makes me a little bit more loath to play out in the festivities. I mean, this is a sorcery. It is good against their deck, but we've got a Murktide in hand. And I want to dig to a second land. So we're just going to do that. Now we're going to hit for 3. At this point, I might actually pitch the Delver instead of the Murktide, because Murktide may be able to deal some serious damage. They've already burned through one of their plows. They probably have 4 Solitudes in their deck. This is going to be a non-basic. You love to see it. Are we going to get to pop them? I hope so. Please play another non-basic. All right, non-basic. Oh, boo. Eternal Witness buying back. Plow. Do we care about this material being on the board? I think I'm going to do it because I get a look, and this is kind of like stopping a 2-for-1. It's still a 1. It's still a 2-for-1, like a 1-for-2, us paying extra mana. If they force back, oh, this is totally fine. Yeah, and now we get our Surveil. Let's get a land, shall we? Yes. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to draw this land, and I'm going to hit them. They're going to get back their plow, I bet. Yeah. We can just overload their plow targets. I'm going to let them plow our DRC. I'm going to get a bolt on the way out. And then we will have a pretty big Murktide, a chunky Murktide for them to contend with. Let's go ahead and do this now. Let's see. We can hit them for... They're not dead. They might be dead if we give them a window to fetch another non-basic, though. Because they're probably not playing around Price for Progress here. This is a really good card. But it also feeds the Murk. I think we bin it. Let's go ahead and hit them. And I suspect they are going to use this turn cycle to plow us. They're not quite dead. To pop. If they start ephemerating stuff, that's going to be really bad for us. If they fetch, if they force, if they do anything, they drop into pop range. That is not the worst. If they actively bounce our DRC, that is fine with me. Do you want to play out a non-basic land? Even a fetch land would be fine. All right, we don't have any surveillance. They are unlikely to attack our mana base. I think I'm going to hold just in case we do draw a Brainstorm because they're not dead yet. We are going to need to play out this DRC before. Okay. We can play out DRC. We could actually do DRC and Murktide in the same turn cycle. And then we can hit them with pop next turn. I think that's fine. Because this will overload their removal. I'm just going to go ahead and get... Should I get the basic island? I think I should. And the reason is just to minimize the amount of damage we're doing to ourselves. I'm going to go ahead and play this out first, just in case they decide they want to force. Okay, and now we're going to play out our Murk. Make him tall. Let's see, we've got 2 lands in the graveyard. We've got a creature. We've got 3 sorceries, so we can go sorcery, sorcery. We have 2 instants. I'll take that instant. Take another sorcery. Okay. So we're still delirious, unless I miscounted. Yeah. We got everything in there. Right. And we can still have a decent sized Murktide if we need to next turn. Because they're almost certainly going to have to plow this. And if they can't remove both of these, then we kill them with pop. Assuming they don't have force. Oh yes, please fetch. Please fetch. It doesn't even matter if it's a basic. You can fetch anything you want. Okay, this is a snake. That's a good card. However, they're not going to be able to get it death touchy. So it is only a temporary reprieve from the onslaught. Green, carpet. Okay, that's a good card. Do you have like Lorien Revealed or something sick in your hand? We know they have plow and 1 unknown. So they're probably going to plow and block. Okay. Lorien Revealed would be insane here. They could just use the white mana here to plow if they want to be mana efficient. Looks like they are using white. They could have Solitude here, but they don't have enough mana to hardcast Solitude. It's fine. It was foretold. 2 more mana. 1 card left. They're just plussing, and they are passing. So I think they're dead. Let's go ahead and see what we draw here. If we draw a bolt, that would be extra damage. A red blast, that's great. So I think it doesn't really matter. Actually, we can just red blast this, and then we can attack first. If they're going to interact, they'll probably interact here. Don't need that land. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this now because I want the Surveil if they do have an answer to it. I can't imagine what answer they would have. That's going in the graveyard. All right, we got it. We got it. Oh my goodness. Main navigation is not responding. All right. So let's take a look at chat and see if they said GG or anything. I've been like hiding the chat. They didn't say anything. Just because like it does take up some of the real estate and I'm on a laptop. If you want chat to come back and you want to be able to see the log, like sometimes I will like open the log to see if they shuffle Brainstorm and stuff. But in general, I'm just trying to keep this area clear. But we're 1-on-1 against two very grindy control decks, which is not Delver's strong suit. So the fact that we won that, despite making a few misplays that I called out, and maybe some more misplays that you're calling out in the comments, I encourage you. I am very thick-skinned. As long as it's civil, please call out anything that I'm doing wrong and help me and everybody else watching get it better. But I'm stoked to keep this train rolling. We got to pop them. We got to bolt the heck out of people. We got to use and the festivities. Like so far, like pretty much everything on my bingo card of what I wanted to happen in this league has happened. Other than, of course, the W in round 1. But we're going to hopefully get some W's in rounds 3 through 5. Stay tuned. Round 3, we're 1-on-1 up against an unknown opponent, kind of. They play a variety of different tempo strategies. I'm thinking that we wait and see what they do, but I'm likely to go grab an island here and Delver. This is a great hand though. Like it's got a lot of stuff to fill our graveyard, which we want to do to get Delirium. Okay, they're playing island. They're going island Tamio. Tamio is a pain. However, if we get a fetch into Chain Lightning, we can just kill it. They could be playing blue-black tempo, and we could be completely screwing ourselves by fetching this. I think I'm going to hold up Force. I don't want to get dazed at this point. I think I'm just going to play it slow and let him accrue some clues and not sweat Tamio too much. Okay, so that means that I think we can get the red source here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and play out the Delver. We could just clear this and wait for a turn for Delver. I think I'm going to get Delver down. And then we're going to play the Bauble out. And we have both Daze and Force to stop a Bowmaster. And then we can do the trick where in our end step, we can Bauble ourselves to increase the likelihood that we flip Delver. I don't mind them creating some clues because we're going to be able to kill them pretty quickly here with flip Delver. Okay, it looks like they may be on blue-red Delver with Tamio instead of what we've been doing, which is just playing a lot of direct damage and stuff. So this is like a more kind of like mid-rangey version of Delver. Right? They are playing Thundertrap Trainer, Offspring. When this enters, look at the top 4 cards. You may reveal a non-creature. This is a 2-mana card that we could daze. Yeah, I don't think it's a problem to daze it. I mean, like we are a tempo deck. Even on the draw, we're kind of a tempo deck. They're not dazing back. Okay, now I'm going to bubble ourselves. We're going to see what we're going to draw. Okay, so now we do want to draw that card first before we flip for Delver. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the Delver trigger on the stack first, and then the Bauble resolves first. So we draw. Now we flip. Please give us a good card. Yes, Brainstorm. Perfect. Okay, and now what I think I'm going to do is I do think I'm going to go ahead and bolt this. They didn't have Daze. I don't want them to stack up too many clues. If they force here, I'll force back. Okay, great. And now we're just going to swing in. They did get a 2-for-1 off that, but it's a mana intensive 2-for-1. They basically paid 3 mana to get a 2-for-1. I'll happily force anything that costs a lot of mana here, but I'm not going to force that. Thundertrap Trainer. They're a Wizards deck. That's what they're playing. Okay, I figured it out. Because this is a Wizard, and they're playing Flame of Anur. And that's a really good card. And they are going to absolutely out mid-range us if we're not aggressive. I think we could shut this off. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. It's a 1-drop, I know. But this does enable their Wizard shenanigans. And they could have Flame of Anur, which is a pretty mediocre card if you're paying the full price for it. All right, so leave a comment if you think that was a loose play, but yeah. I just don't want them to out mid-range us, that's all. Brainstorm is great here because we're going to be able to put back so many cards. Okay, and what we're looking for is just more pressure. So I'm going to play this out first, just in case they daze us, so we can at least get our Brainstorm. I don't think they'll daze us. Brainstorm. All right, this is great. We can put these 2 cards back. Now I'm just going to go get another Volk in case they have Wasteland. They could be playing Blood Moon in their deck. Huh. I think they're more likely to be playing Blood Moon than Wasteland. I think I am going to grab the basic island just in case. Now I'm just going to play out the Delver here. And we're going to try to do the same Mishra's Bauble trick to flip Delver during their turn. And we have Daze up, so that's pretty good. Fetching end step. Let's see what they do here. Thundering Falls is fine. Thundering Falls and Thunderclap Trainer, thematically related cards. Do they have a 4th land? They do. Okay, so we're unlikely to get any Daze value this turn cycle. There are a lot of cards they can use to rain on our parade. That would be ironic. Actually, it would only be ironic if it rained on our wedding day. Sorry for putting that song in your head. This does flip Delver, so we're going to stack accordingly. And this does tighten up the clock a little bit. So we want the Bauble trigger to go on the stack first. So we flip, reveal our lightning bolt here. Yes. Now we draw. And then we draw again. Are you going to do anything in response to us drawing? It looks like they are going to... Don't do anything too devastating. Flame of Anur for 5 damage. Yeah, I mean, that's a 3 mana removal spell. We can't really do anything. I'm not going to crack. I'm not going to fire off Daze. I'm going to save Daze. We do still have a beater. Now we draw. Force. Okay, that's really good. Sorry if I was like really loud there. I was like really excited. Okay, yeah. And I think I'm just going to hold up this mana. And like we might be able to just like hard cast a Daze, but we're getting them closer to the red zone. I don't believe they have any life gain in their deck. Force is great. Like the whole philosophy of tempo is like, okay, they pay like 3 or 4 mana for something and then you force it. That's like so good. I don't want to fire off the bolt willy-nilly. They might present a target later. They're attempting to do something during our upkeep. This might be another Flame of Anur, which I will force because I want to keep this around. So congratulations, you got a 2-for-1. Spell Pierce would be bad here. Actually, we can pay for Spell Pierce, so that's not a big deal. We do want to keep the pressure on though, because they definitely 100% win if like this Insectile Aberration gets off the table and they can like, oh, they're forcing back. Okay. Murktide is our best draw at this point, or Seek the Beast. See if we can get one of those. Wasteland's not bad. But we're just chilling here. I'm going to go ahead and hit this just so they can't Daze it back. They're fetching in response. I don't know why. They have a Stifle. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but it doesn't really matter. We could have waited till they put it on the stack, but they're probably going to put Flame on top. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So if they can find a wizard, they can get a lot of value. They can draw 3 cards here, or 2 cards off of Flame of Anur. I'll try to enunciate. There it is. They're drawing some cards. That's good for them. They've got lots of cards. Okay, and our Wasteland was not particularly effectual. They have plenty of mana coming. Can we get a good card? No. I think I hold this because it is possible that we like brainstorm this back, and I don't think they use any soft permission in their deck. We're basically dead. It's just a matter of time. We're going to see how many basics they play. It might make sense to bring in Pop, because if the game goes long, Pop does provide an inevitability. Okay, they didn't have anything here. They may have instant speed shenanigans. That's what we wanted. I am going to play this out, and I am going to keep up Daze protection just in case. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, am I going to make it full size? I've got every other type in the graveyard, and I can put an instant in there. Yeah, we're going to make it big. One swing of this will be death. Does our opponent have the force? They're cracking the clue, which is fine. We know that they have... We don't actually know anything about the composition of their hand. They've already used the flame. They are forcing here. That's unfortunate, but it is a 2-for-1. And yeah, we got them to use their clue. I don't know. I'm not feeling good. I think we're like maybe 20% to win this, but if we just draw like another Murk It'll be a 4/4 and it'll die to Flame Manure. If we draw our Reach spell, that'll be good. If they keep cracking fetches and forcing and stuff, then it's possible that double bolt gets them. And we have lots of bolts in our deck. How many bolts have we drawn? Drawn 1 of 7, plus the 1 in our hand. So we have 5 more bolts in our deck that we're drawing 2. And they may Brainstorm shuffle here just to get the value, like to shuffle away lands. That would make sense. It's worth noting that this game would have been completely run away with had we not gotten rid of Tamiyo. So I don't have any regrets about bolting her. Okay? And more lands that deal damage to them, that's fine. I'd love to see them drawing lands here. They are close to a Hardcast Force. We draw a dud. We're going to hold it, and we're going to pass. Actually, do we pass? My reasoning is that they could get Hardcast Force up soon, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I can just bolt around like them casting stuff. They don't have another Surveil trigger in their deck, I don't think. Mismatching Scalding Tarns, which trigger me. Don't be land. All right, this is great. This is why we hold our bolts. Now we get some selection. We've got a threat. Let's pass. Even if they interact with this, we still have our bolt up, so it's not the worst. Snapcaster, they can Snapcaster flashing back Flame of Anur. Let's see. So this is unfortunate because we're going to have to hit this and reduce. Okay, with the trigger on the stack, we can bolt this, and then they only get 1. And they're probably going to have to use it to hit this, but this is still tempo negative force for sure. All right, and they are going to target Flame of Anur. Oh, wait, they're going to target Brainstorm? If they're going to target Brainstorm, I don't think I actually interact here. But they could have a third Flame of Anur in hand. I'm going to let this resolve. But if I let this resolve, they won't have enough mana for Flame of Anur. I'm going to let them Brainstorm without knowing that I'm going to go ahead and burn the bolt. They know about the bolt. I think this is fine. If they keep a Flame of Anur hoping to use its ability, then they won't be able to because I'm going to bolt this. And I do think it's correct to bolt this even though they're low in life. This does enable their Flame of Anur, and they may have cards that can bounce this back to hand. I'm not sure actually if they have something to bounce that back to hand. They're fetching here. Basic Mountain. Okay. We didn't have an instep stop, so we can't really do anything. Unfortunately, I forgot to have an instep stop. I'm used to having the instep stop. So they could Flame of Anur here. That'd be really unfortunate. Yeah, and they do. So they're going to get 2 triggers. I am going to go ahead and fetch here. Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, it was just sloppy. I should have bolted instep. That was a punt. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get Volk. And I'm going to go ahead and do this now. Hit them. And I am going to hit them now that they're a little lower. Ponder is a good rip. It will help us find a land. So yeah, that's dead. They get to draw 2 cards. They're down to 3. Ponder into Bolt is really good. Ponder into Seek the Beast is good. They're going to come in for 2. Their life total is precarious. Okay, another land. Do they have another flame? If I were them, I'd definitely be looking for a force just in case of a bolt. They've seen that we're playing... so they should assume we have at least 3 lightning bolts left in our deck. And in fact, we have a lot more than that. We've got 3 lightning bolts and 2 chain lightnings that we're drawing to. Brainstorm. Yeah, this is where they started running away with the game with value. So it may have been a blessing that if this bolt resolves, then it will be a blessing that I didn't hit this, but I'm going to mark it down as a punt anyway. Ponder. Questing Druid is quite good. We can actually Questing Druid and Ponder again this turn cycle. I think that's worth it because we haven't played a land yet. So I'm going to hope that they don't have a force for this. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. Red, blue. A lot these decks don't generally play Daze. Okay. Boom. Ponder. Very good value. Wasteland's forces. I don't want these. I'm looking specifically for Bolt. Great. All right. They may have Hardcast Force up, but we're going to put this in play next turn. And then we're going to then we're going to bolt, and then we'll have kind of a semi-lethal threat on the table. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be at 2, so This is an exciting game. We got a ball game here. Okay, they're coming in for a hug. Thunderclap. Oh, no. What are they going to get back? Oh, look at the top 4. Okay. Yeah. So it's going to be hard to get through these double blockers. May reveal a non-land. What do they reveal? Ponder. Okay, that's a good card. This is where the value takes over. Harbinger. That does lock us out of winning, doesn't it? I did not expect main deck Harbinger. Well, we'll see what we draw, but I don't think we're going to win now. Murktide would not be the worst. There's their Ponder. Yeah, man. What a beating. And there wasn't really anything. I mean, had I played this out, then I might have been able to play this out last turn instead of pondering, but I would have always pondered 100% of the time. I did not expect this main deck. It's not the worst against us, but it is obviously consequential here where we have lethal in our hand. And we have nothing we can do to remove that. So really we're drawing to a Delver that they can't immediately address, which is unlikely considering how many cards they're looking at. And we're drawing to a Murktide. Brainstorm, set us free. Can we find a Murk? Oh, Borrower actually does it. It's not good, but it is. Okay, so we're basically just on the Borrower or Bust train here. I think I'm actually going to play out the Volk just to make them really think like, wow, like this did so much. But in reality, like I'm totally fine if they keep that in. Like I don't think it's going to be that consequential because we frankly like lost this game a long time ago. I'm going to play it now because if they have a force, I don't want them hard casting it on this. This is our ticket to victory. If this dies, we're conceding. If this doesn't die and they don't have a flyer, then we win. It's as simple as that. They do have red. They could have bolt. They could have a lot of things here. I don't think and the festivities comes in here. I don't think it's good enough. If they have their own borrower, we can borrow again, but we're not going to be able to win. What is this? Room deals damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to target creature. Okay, so that's the game. Good game. Yeah, this is cool. Like it's a room like the sauna. I heard this is the best room in the deck. Like I think this is like you get an extra card every turn. So it's basically like a Howling Mine and you get the it's like a Library of Ling and a Howling Mine in one. Pretty good for a grindy deck. Price of Progress. I do think we bring it in, even though they have like okay, so what is going to definitely come in? I think the Hydroblast and the Pyroblast come in. There's no debating that. Those are great. I think the Price of Progress could come in. These cards just not that good. Daze better on the play than on the draw. I like having the burn. I think we could take out a Wasteland. They don't seem to be interacting with our lands other than casting the thing. And they're going to just fetch basics. So maybe price isn't right here. The price is not right. The price is wrong. And if that's the case, it makes it a little easier to make cuts. Yeah, I'd rather have just burn that is reliably going to work. And then I think we could just take out the forces. I mean, like we don't want to be going down cards. Daze is still good because they have to respect it and we can get them. If we're keeping Dazes in, it probably makes sense to keep a waste in. Borrower is something that can close the door, but I didn't see anything really to bounce other than like clues. Yeah, almost everything in their deck has an ETB. So I'm going to cut a Borrower. Yep. And we're just going up permission. And we're hoping that that does it. We're going to try to kill them quickly. This game does not favor us the longer it goes on. I think paying 3 mana for a Flip Delver is just not worth it. So that's my reasoning with the Borrower. And because I think that's probably like the ceiling for that card. This is a mulligan, unfortunately. Which in a matchup where we do not want to be mulliganing. This is much better though. I'm fine with this. So I think we put back the Volk. And we just go into DRC town immediately. And we'll find another land along the way. I don't want to put back any of these business spells. It's going to take him at least till turn 3 to lock us out of red. DRC down. I wouldn't be opposed. Like, I would seriously consider forcing this if I had a force. Like, it's just such a house. I think we put this in the graveyard. And that will also kind of communicate to them that we might have our own Daze, like that we're not even interested in that Daze. They've got a Thunder Trap on top. It's something that is irritating because it's an ETB trigger, so it's instant guaranteed value if it resolves, and it's only 2 mana. So yeah, Hydroblast is great. It's probably going to be too late to save our DRC if they blast it. Oh, or if they bolt it. Yep, they are bolting it. That sucks. All right. So I think what we do here is we do go ahead and ponder for a land, and then we hope to resolve this Delver. That seems pretty good. All right. We have a decent shot of finding a land here. We do find a land, and we find some other good stuff too. We have 3 cards in our graveyard. Murktide is a good card. I think, though, that we're going to just go ahead and get this Delver out. There's no reason to ever fetch our basics here. I could go ahead and fetch the Trop. I think that's totally fine. That will communicate to them that we either have Questing Druid in hand or are at least planning for a future in which we're having it in hand. I think it's fine. I don't imagine them screwing us off our blue. And I think it's fine to have this as an option later. We could, of course, flip like double bolt or something off Questing Druid, and that'd be really embarrassing. Here's the Thunder Trap. This does block Delver, but we can bolt it out of the way if we need to just keep momentum. That feels very bad. But they are guaranteed, practically guaranteed a 2-for-1. Sink into Stupor. Okay, so that's a mana source, and it can return our flip Delver. So that's pretty bad. Let's see if we can flip. We did not flip. We drew one of our borrowers. That sucks. Let's go ahead and not reveal it. And I think I am going to... I could bolt and attack here. Questing Druid could just whiff. We won't have any mana available. If we wait till their turn to do it, they could sink it, and that would be very embarrassing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chill, and during my upkeep, I'm going to sink it. Or I'm going to Questing Druid during their upkeep. Yeah, I don't want to risk losing the value. We need value, even though we're supposed to be proactive here. And there's a decent chance that they just force it or something, and then we're like really screwed. All right, let's do it. Red, blue. This is the earliest we can do it where we will still have a window to use it. Seek the Beast. I like how this changes to like red border when you're casting it. That's cool. I wish real cards change color depending on which mode you were using. There's the Hydroblast, which we feared. I think we're totally screwed. I don't think we're going to win this. They've got 6 cards in hand. They've got a Wasteland. They do play Wasteland. Okay, well, that's good to know. And now we're screwed off like one of our more important colors because we were hoping to resolve that. So, yeah, punish for sure. But, like, we had no reason to expect them to play Wasteland. They may play, like, 1 or 2. All right, we did flip here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and attack, and we're going to pass with nothing up other than a Hydroblast, which is not nothing. They did bin a Lightning Bolt. Or, no, wait. They bolted our creature. So, yeah. I presume they're playing 4 bolts, like I would certainly be. They're coming in for a hug. Otter hug. Otter wizard. Look at him. He's having so much fun. Look, he's got like so many fish in his nets. Yeah, he's going to have a great haul. He's going to have a great dinner. All right. Waiting room for a land. Fetching. This is a sink into Stupor, what we can't interact with, sadly. Oh, okay. They may not want to do it because of Daze. I'm going to go ahead and attack, and we'll see what they do. If they sink, that's totally fine. It's a 2-for-1 in the sense that I can just recast this. But they are gaining tempo. Oh, Snapcaster. I can't stop Snapcaster, but I can stop Lightning Bolt if that's what they go for here. That's fine. And I think I am going to bolt just to keep the momentum up. Technically, they're like racing me here, but I want to keep this alive. And we did just get 2-for-1 yet again, but it's worth it to keep our Delver on the table, dealing damage. Like this Delver, like, you know, I have trouble as a control mage, like playing these tempo decks because there is like so much like hoping involved. Like you just hope that like their deck doesn't deliver, and I'd much rather play a proactive role, but you know, it comes with the territory. All right, Flame, can't deal with that, and they get 2 cards. I mean, we're dead. Like there's There's no hope. Sorry for the fatalism, but we're just getting completely owned here. We're just getting destroyed. And now they have plenty of mana to cast the Harbinger of the Sea. I'm going to go ahead and YOLO Ponder and see if we can find a fetch that. Okay, that'll do. These are good cards if our Volk sticks around, but I think that our Volk is almost certainly going to get disrupted. But so I'll put the Pyroblast on the bottom because we're going to be tapping out proactively every turn here, and we're going to play this, and we're going to hope that we can get there through direct damage over the course of the next few turns, and that they don't somehow disrupt us again. Like Harbinger of the Sea disrupts us. We know that they have a shock land or a bolt land in their hand, the Sink of the Stupor that they can use to bounce stuff. We are delirious. They have more Snapcasters. They have Thunderclap. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. We're not playing to pop, and I'm actually really glad that I didn't put pop in. Even if we get 4 off pop, it's not worth the, it's a 2 mana spell. Okay, there's a Wasteland for our red. We know we're not drawing red. They can just sink into Stupor this, and we can't recast it. And we know we're drawing 2 we're drawing a Pyroblast and a Chain Lightning, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to concede. This is just disgusting. We're getting completely destroyed. Okay, so let's see if we can get the positive record in the final round. It is refreshing playing against 3 fair decks in a row. Is that right? Yeah, there's actually 2 more matches that we had to play. If we want to get the positive record, we have to win 2 more, not 1 more. All right, let's get to it. Be excellent here. In between rounds, just a quick commentary. That Wizards deck was pretty epic, wasn't it? Like, even, admiring it from the other side of the table while it destroys you made me really want to play it. So I think there's a good chance that I play that on a future video. If you want me to play it, leave a comment with play it. Play the Wizards deck. It's one of those rare decks that was not negatively impacted by the bans. It was only made stronger. So I can definitely see, like, if Punishing Waterfalls was doing well with it before, it's probably really strong now. And I can basically just take Punishing Waterfalls list. He's an amazing brewer, and I'm a huge admirer of his. How casually he seems to just destroy decks. It's great. So I do think that we're going to play that in a future match, a future league. So stay tuned. We're in round 4 against Aristocrates. And we've got a pretty good hand. Yeah, I think we keep this. Let's see what they're likely on. Likely Goblins player. I think this is good enough. They're Moxen. They are pitching. Don't be a freaking oops deck, please. It's so sad when people give up on life and become oops decks. What is this? One ring? Turn 1 1 ring? Oh, they're just Moon Stompy? Well, I'm going to force this. Can't have that running around. My goodness. Yeah, I think we pitch the Delver because we're going to waste them, and then we're just going to hope to recover some of our momentum here. If I find a red source, I might not waste them immediately. Okay. I am going to waste, and I think I'm just going to chill, and then I'll bauble later. Because next turn we can brainstorm and potentially... Do we want to play out the bauble now? No, we're not going to. It's potentially going to help us get some card selection. Yeah, the Goblins player got tired of losing, and they decided to play the Moon Stompy deck. Goblins is a very tough deck to play. Like, it's pretty skill intensive, like D&T, and maybe they're just deciding to have an off day and play Moon Stompy, which is a pretty easy deck to pilot, in my humble opinion. Fight me. This is I don't think this is a keep. Is this a keep? I think we want to get forces. Yeah, I want to get forces. And Dazes. I'm going to go ahead and see their secrets here. Petal, okay. So I'm glad I didn't keep that Wasteland. I guess I could technically... No, you can't bauble because the bauble's not on the stack. You can't bauble them with the surveil trigger on the stack. So you can't actually use the bauble to decide how that first surveil is going to go down. Otherwise, DRC would be even better than it already is. Well, they just scoop. All right, great. So we don't have a lot here, but we do have Hydroblast and we have, Meltdown is probably worth playing because they probably have Chalice in their deck now that Bauble's banned. And then Consigns come in. I think Consigns pretty good against like their triggers and a lot of the red stuff. And then Force Negation's coming in. Yeah, these are good cards. Cards that are coming out. I'm not like a huge fan of Bolt type effects, but they are hitting themselves a lot with the Tomb, so maybe Bolt is worth playing. Borrower can bounce a Mox out of play. It can get like an attacker out of the way. I'm really not sure about Meltdown. We're on the draw. Daze is a lot worse on the draw. Man, I just really don't know how to board here. I do think the Consigns come in. They seem good. We put the Hydro in, so we need to cut 6 things. Borrower would be my immediate instinct. I think we could cut the Questing Druids. They are slower, and they require, they're harder to play. Like, Blood Moon comes down, they're not doing anything. They're just like whatever the Ren's Resolve or whatever the card is. A Reckless Abandon. I can't remember what the name of the red card is. It's played in the Ruby Storm deck. We could cut some of the Chain Lightnings just because they are something that crumples pretty hard to but actually I think we cut Ponder here, and my reasoning is simple. My reasoning is it's slower, and we have plenty of blue, and if they don't get Chalice but they get Moon Stompy, we can still kill them with burn spells. That's my reasoning. They're not going to be expecting 7 burn spells from Delver. We can use that to our advantage. They get too greedy with the ring. They get too greedy with tapping Ancient Tomb, shocking in lands. I definitely want to flame them out. I think that'd be very gratifying. So I'm not sure if it's correct, but it will be gratifying. This is a totally keepable hand. Snap keep. I'm going to wait and think for a minute because I don't want them to know that I have like a double force hand. And I want them to think I'm really laboring over this. I wish I knew a joke. Okay, I'm going to tell a joke. So, I wanted to get this belt and just put a whole bunch of clocks on it. So I got like a whole bunch of these very fancy watches and put them around my belt. And then I finally put it on and I realized, oh, what a waste of time. All right. So we're keeping... If you like that joke, tell me and I'll try to find more silly dad jokes. I'm a dad, so I do have that in my repertoire. This is a force. We're going to pitch probably Consign. I think we pitch Consign because Delver can clock them. Yeah, and then I'm just going to open Delver. And we have Brainstorm to pitch the force. Bauble's fine. I'm going to go... Yeah, I can do the Delver trick. I'm going to do that. All right, shocking. I like it. No, not shocking. Where's the fun in that? All right, let's Bauble ourselves. Let's not screw this up. Daze is great. So we're going to reveal Daze. So we want the Delver trigger to go on the stack second so that it fires first. I want to reveal that. Draw on Daze. Swinging in. Oh, this is a second land. Do we want to play this out? I think I'm just going to go for the attack and think for a second while I do it. I think we don't really need this land. I'd much rather find like a fetch so I can get an island in case they have a follow-up Blood Moon. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, these are pretty terrible cards. Actually, the Wasteland is great. So I'm willing to draw the second land if it means I can waste them off their tomb. Yeah, or actually, maybe I waste them off the red source. Oh, they are very low on life. So this feels good. Yeah, you want to tap your tomb, go for it. Just tap your tomb 3 more times and I'll hit you 3 more times and then we can go and call it an early evening. Oh, wow. This doesn't produce any colored mana. They've got nothing but colorless mana. Yeah, Moon Stompy. We've got double bolt up if we want it. This feels insane. This matchup is great. At this point, I probably wouldn't even counter a Blood Moon. I'd probably be like, sure. Okay, shock. Shock, shock, shock. Oh, wow. Pyro. It's 5/6. We can just Daze it. But they may have the thing. I'm going to force just in case. Because we have a deterministic kill next turn, basically. And I'm just going to bolt them here at the end step so I can make sure that I can do stuff in case I draw something else. Bitey bye. I hope that doesn't seem excessive celebratory, you know, but like I've lost to this deck so many times, and it feels so good to actually play a red deck that can kind of ignore the Blood Moon to a large extent, and just that was a really quick match, and that felt great. Let's go to round 5 and see if we can get the positive record we wanted so badly. Final round. My daughter wanted me to watch this YouTube hard riddles video, and it was really fun. So we are down a little bit of time. It's Mott 88. They were born in 1988. That's a good year. A lot of good movies and music came out. They are a modern player. I think we just keep this. This seems strong. Even on the draw. Double Daze. Channeler. Hope they don't have a waste. Okay. So we are a deck built to punish these Eldrazi decks. I am going to live dangerously here. Volk. DRC. Bauble. Trigger. Chain Lightning. I think we put it in the graveyard. With the single Daze, we're delirious. Would love to draw a land here. Wasteland would be great. Fleshraker. Hopefully we can Daze that. Worst thing they could do would be to waste us here. Second DRC can potentially really do some damage, but now they have Blast Zone. This is a Daze. You don't let this card resolve. See if they have Elvish Spirit Guide. Oh, that's great. That's what we want. Put it on top. My kids are watching something really loud. It's like there's pulsing in the floor. Maybe it's like the resonance of the floor at my parents' house. I'm at my parents' house for Christmas, by the way. Okay, we're going to be hitting for 3. I mean, this Blast Zone, they need 3 mana to use it. We drew another land, which I don't really want to see. What do we want to do here? I think we could... Murktide is really good. I'm worried that they do just have like the mana. Like they have guys... Let's see. We could get another attack in with this. I want to find a Murktide. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play out the land they know about. And then I'm going to ponder here. And we're going to try to find a Murktide. Because Murktide could be really big if they clear this. Bolt. I think we feed it to the Murktide. Murktide is a really good card in this matchup. Getting the MTGO spinner despite having probably like a multi-megabit connection. Oh, wow. These are great. I do want the Force. I take the Force this turn. I take the Murktide next turn. Actually, yeah, I'm going to put the Murktide on bottom, and I'm going to assume that I'm going to do something to get rid of the Delver this turn. If I don't, I can just Brainstorm and flip it, but I don't want to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and attack, and let's pass. So our Murktide is going to be pretty big, and we can even keep Delirium probably. Okay, so this could be a Force. We could just let them do it. I think I'm going to Force. We're going to keep the pressure on. But this shows us that they are likely to be able to kill our DRC, and we want them to kill. We want them to spend a turn cycle killing our DRC. This goes in the graveyard. All right. It's a miracle that they haven't drawn like a Caverns. Caverns would be pretty powerful. So we draw a Murktide. We can fetch away the other card. I can't even remember what it was because I'm bad. We're going to hug for 3, and then we're just going to Murk. They're going to need... I'm actually fine with losing Delirium here. I am going to get a non-basic here just because I don't want them to waste me off of red. We can always mop up with a second DRC later if we need to. Let's go ahead and make this a full-size boy. They're 12. I think we do leave a Chain Lightning in the graveyard. Let's see. We have 5 types currently. So if we make a 7/7, that's still probably going to kill them, especially if they tap Tomb. Let's see. Make it 8/8. They can only tap Tomb once. Yeah, and I can just put a instant in the graveyard. Yeah, so I think this is fine. All right, 8/8 boy. Daze on deck. You can blast, but then you're going to die the following turn. So I think we've probably got them cornered. Dismember is very painful for them to do. That's one way they can potentially kill it. But yeah, we're just too strong. Being on the play against Eldrazi with like a really good draw. That felt great. Stopping both of the 2 spells that they were able to cast that turn. And it only gets better after board. So these pops are going to come in. These are insane against them. And the consigns are coming in. Cards that get cut. Brazen Borrower is pretty bad against them. There's not like they have cast triggers or ETB triggers on literally every creature. This can get rid of Chalice, but like, just don't think that's where we want to be. Daze is not good against them generally, especially not on the draw. I mean, if they have Chalice, it's pretty bad. But I think we have to stop the Chalice with like a force, or we just have to play around it with Murk. And Questing Druid, it's also like a win con that plays around. We could bring in Meltdown, but I don't think that's correct. Yeah, I think we run it like this. Maybe we cut the Daze and we bring in a Borrower, just in case we get lucky and are able to borrow it out of play for a turn. Borrower is an attacker that has evasion, and they do damage to themselves, and they don't have any flyers. It's as hard for them to get rid of Borrower as it is for them to get rid of anything other than Murktide itself, which is the hardest for them to get rid of. This is a force hand. I'm not wild about double Questing Druid against their, exile your lands, like double uncounterable Stone Rain deck. But I think this is a keep. And we will sadly probably pitch Force of Will if they open Chalice, because we are going to want to have that. We are going to want to be able to do stuff in the face of Chalice. This is 2 mana for Chalice. That is Chalice. I am going to force this. They've already done some damage to themselves, and they're down to 4 cards. I'm just going to straight Chain Lightning their face here. Not going to mess around. I should have probably checked to make sure the top card is not Wasteland, but I don't think we have the luxury of waiting. Like, we're going to have to just work through it. Eat that. Just straight direct damage. Patrick Sullivan, The Philosophy of Fire. If you haven't read that article, that's like a classic article about playing burn. Take a look at their top card. Sowing Micah Spawn. Yep, they could Micah Spawn us out of the game. We do have another blue source. I regret nothing. Draw a card. Okay, we're drawing lands. This is good. Pedal. Sure. Use like all your cards basically to Wasteland us. That's fine. Yep. You get a trigger. You can go get a Wasteland. I am unmoved, and this body does not scare me. A Cavern. Okay, that's a good card. Luckily, it's not going to affect us right now. The current composition of our hand does not mind Cavern. I'm going to Bauble again. Yeah, I'm just going to Bauble and get some more insight. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and play out a Misty, and then we can go fetch another Volk. And then we can, because I do want to be able to cast these 2 Druids, and I don't want to expose this to Wasteland. As weird as that may sound, like protecting my Trop that only cast 2 cards in our deck. Both of those cards happen to be in our hand. Also note that Mishra's Bauble does not grow the Druid. It has to be a colored spell, a non-green colored spell. I wonder what they have in their hand that's so important to resolve that they wanted to go for that Cavern. I guess we'll probably see next turn. It might be a Thought-Knot Seer. It might be that they have multiple Sowing Micah Spawns, but they double pedaled to get that out. I'm so glad we get to play against Eldrazi, because this is like the deck's forte. This is why people are playing Delver right now, is because of the Eldrazi Menace. And I want to showcase the power of this deck. And hopefully I can. Hopefully I don't get like a bad draw at game 3 if there is a game 3, and then we just sadly lose with our, probably 80-20 matchup. I mean, it's got to be ridiculously good. Right? Let's go ahead and play out, or I'm going to do this first just to check for what they're likely drawing. Territory color. Reach. Whenever you a land you control enters, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. That's ridiculous. You don't put the creature card in your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. That seems really strong. A 7/5 reach. That is very good against our deck. We may lose this game. Okay, and then, yeah, I am going to go ahead and play this out. And like the odds of a Questing Druid getting through that are very low, but it may be able to chump for a few turns while we get closer to a to our favorite card in the matchup. Price of Progress. They are going to be doing more damage to themselves, and they're probably going to be playing more land, especially if they have a territory color. Okay, we drew another land, so I'm definitely going to go fetch the Volk here. Okay, what is this? Null Drifter. That's fine. It's just 2 cards. This is actually like really good for us that they're spending an entire turn cycle doing damage to themselves and drawing some cards. Okay, they're coming in. That's fine. Our life total does not matter that much. Instep, we are going to Questing Druid. Let's go get our red. We've got a pretty stacked graveyard here. Murk would be amazing. Murk may actually... It won't be able to currently beat territory color. Seek. We got a bolt and a land. That's fine. And we can do this again next turn. Okay, we got a blue source. So I'm going to play the land. Do I want to... Yeah, I definitely want to play this land. Definitely need a bolt here. And I am going to bolt them. I'm going to go aggro. I'm not going to bolt this. I'm not going to play defensively here. And I think we just pass with a second one on deck. There's a very high likelihood that the territory color hits the table here. Coming in for a hug. We're actually tied in life now. No, wait, we're not. We're at 11. Pop is potentially dangerous to us after a while. I think I am going to get an island here just to reduce the likelihood that we have to kill ourselves when we pop. Do I care about this? I think I am going to go ahead and fetch now just to see what I'm likely to get. I mean, I could find a Daze. I don't think that's good. I'll get the island here, and we're just going to boop, boop. Druid. Seek. Let's see what we flip. Chain Lightning is... yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do any of this stuff. It's all 1-drops. I mean, it's food for the Murk if we find a Murk, but that is a very strong card against us. Right. I mean, we can still technically cast them. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play one out, and I'm going to just cast some spells into the void, and we're going to get a big 3/3 that we can swing with in case they are stalled on mana. Green, blue, Questing Druid, cast. Blue, Brainstorm, countered. And this is guaranteeing that, like, it's not guaranteeing, but it's making so, like, our Murktide is most likely going to be able to fight territory color here. Okay, it's countered, but we do get the trigger. Okay, and now they are crazy to attack us, especially because this will actually be bigger. If we force something, then this will be so big that they can't even deal with it in combat. Okay, they're taking 2 more. Flesh Raker can't be... Oh, wait, it can be countered. All right. I'm liking this. Yeah, and the reason it can be countered is they have to play colorless, so they're tapping their Cavern for colorless here. And I think that's probably a ball game. They have to chump here, and then they're going to be able to tap 1 time. Okay, the scoop. We just completely delvered Eldrazi, and that felt amazing. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you're winning against a deck that normally beats the hell out of you. Like, there were so many months after Modern Horizons 3 where I was just getting destroyed by Eldrazi over and over, and it feels really good to just come in and completely destroy them. Now, we lost to the bigger control decks. We lost to Wizards, which, again, is a really good deck, and I would like to play it on the channel. We lost to, what was the other deck? It was also a bigger control deck. Oh, yeah, Esper Vial. And we expect to lose those. So we won all the matches we expect to win, and we lost all the ones we expect to lose. And yeah, I think it was really fun. This deck is a blast to play. Like, I love burning people out. I love putting Eldrazi on a clock and just bullying them, for lack of better. Like, I hope that's not an insensitive term, but basically that's what we're doing. We're just pushing them around and, like, making their lives miserable, like they make our lives miserable with their double uncounterable Stone Rains and stuff. And it's very cathartic. So this is a very cathartic deck to play, but know that there is a lot of control running around here, surprisingly, in the leagues. And when you encounter it, you are going to have to you're going to have to beat it somehow. And it's hard. It's definitely an uphill challenge. If you watch, I've got 2 other videos where I played this deck. And I went 4-1 in one of them. Or I shouldn't spoil it, but like one of them I already spoiled because it was like a 5-0. So like this is a really good list. This is really good. And I beat a lot of control decks on the way. So it can definitely be done. Questing Druid was insane. Like I do think that this is better playing just like there were a lot of situations in the previous league where I was overloaded on Mercs. And you really only need one Merc in a game. Like, yes, they can feed each other, but that's not really what you want to be doing with Merc. What you want to be doing is, only drawing one and having that be your finisher, right? I think going down to 3 Chain Lightnings is still plenty of direct damage. And Questing Druid, like, how often did we flip stuff off Questing Druid we couldn't use? I think there was like a Brazen Borrower once, and even with the Chalice out, we were still able to grow the Druid. So the Druid became bigger, especially after the Force of Will. I mean, that was like a 4/4 for basically a free spell. We paid mana, but we got kind of like just a really buffed Questing Druid. So it's like we paid 4 mana for a 4/4 essentially. It's not bad at all in that situation. So this card is really fun. It is nice to have some source of card advantage in a Delver deck that, as Tom Nelson, my friend, who's a Delver player extraordinaire, who's been playing Delver for like 15 years, ever since Delver itself was printed, which I think was like 2011, 2010. I think that he said it best when he said, my Delver deck does have card advantage. I end the game when my opponent still has 5 cards in their hand, and it's as though I drew 5 cards. And that's one way to look at the game of Magic the Gathering, is it's all about resource parity. A card like Howling Mine is not good because you're giving your opponent cards as well as yourself, right? But if you can break parity and have a card like Tamio, where you're drawing cards and your opponent is not drawing cards, then all of a sudden it's really good. So it's all about breaking parity. And one of the ways you can break parity is just, they paid 3 mana for a spell, you paid 0 mana for it. Boom. That's really powerful in this format. So I would love for Delver to become the top deck again, because I think when Delver is the top deck, it's a pretty healthy meta. And it's a high skill deck that I'm just starting to get good at. I used to complain about it all the time. I used to be like, man, like I'm so sick of like getting Daze and stuff like that. And like it is hard to beat this deck. But if you're like a good control mage, and if you're playing a lot of plows and prismatic endings, you can reliably beat this deck. This deck has kind of a little bit of game against everything except control. But control farms it, as we saw in this league. So if you want to get into Delver, I just picked up my FBB bolts, and this is not sponsored by Tales of Adventure, but I just want to shout them out. They had like near mint Japanese bolts for like $24 each, which was not bad at all. They're 4th edition. They're not revised, but it doesn't really matter. They look exactly the same. So if you want to get FBB bolts, I think that's a pretty good place. I got them on TCG Player. I'm not going to drop like an affiliate link or anything, because frankly, I just haven't had time to set any of this stuff up. And Chain Lightning, you can get these. I think I got these on eBay, or I got Italian ones, which are a little bit cheaper and look just as good as the Legend ones, in my humble opinion. But yeah, and then I got the Retro Frame Dragon's Rage Chandler. So I am going to be playing this in paper. And of course, I do have 4 Questing Druids in this art style because I love this type of frame. And I picked these up after the card was printed, and I've never played with them in paper, and I'm very excited about that. So anyway, sorry for the like little autobiographical, like my own paper Magic the Gathering journey, but like I love playing paper Magic. And if you are playing paper Magic and you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, please Thursday nights, drop by Boardwalk Games. That's where me and all my friends play, and it's a blast. It's like $10 to enter, and you get like way more than that store credit if you can win even 2 rounds, or you can get cash. And it's just like super chill vibes, super chill players, and high skill players too. So I don't have any feedback on the deck list at all. This feels like pretty much perfect. And the festivities did show up a couple times. I think it's worth playing. If people are going to be playing Ephemerate, and if people are going to be playing, Baleful Strix and Snapcaster Mage and stuff like that, this is a very good card to have. Is it worth the slot? I'm not sure. But we already are maxed on Blasts. I mean, you could swap this out. Like if you're in a really heavy combo meta, maybe you want a second Force Negation. I said it earlier. I really do think Force Negation is a, it's not that great of a card. It's like way worse, dramatically worse than Force of Will. Hydroblast could be a 2-of maybe if you're encountering like against the Wizards deck. I would have definitely loved to have a second Hydroblast, but I think it's very situational in our matchups against Painter and the other deck we faced Moon Stompy. That was just like the easiest. Those last 2 rounds were like extremely favorable for us and extremely easy. No shade to our opponents, but we just had such a structural advantage going into those games. And I love decks where you are just dramatically favored against some of the best decks in the format. And I would say right now, like I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a tier 1 deck. The other tier 1 decks probably being like some Nadu variant. I think it's probably the Nadu Elves variant. I was like kind of like down on the deck and thinking it wasn't very good, and then I've lost to it a few times just because of the power of Allosaurus Shepherd. And then the other tier deck would be like Eldrazi, and this just shreds Eldrazi. Moon Stompy, maybe. I think Moon Stompy did lose a lot when they lost Vexing Bauble. And then, maybe the Oops is tier. I mean, like Oops is putting up quite a fight. I'm like losing half my games against Oops, and I'm pretty good at playing against Oops. I played against it, I don't know, dozens and dozens of times at this point. So I would say like that would be my tier list of current decks is, Oops, Rug Delver, which I think is the best version of Delver. Blue-Black Control may still be good. And then Blue-Black Reanimator. So Rug Delver, Blue-Black Reanimator, Elf Nadu, and Oops. That would be my we're like 2 weeks into the ban, and I would say those are probably the most powerful decks. But I'm looking forward to playing Wizards because who knows, maybe that's a sleeper hit. Not hit at all by the bans, only helped, and it looks like a lot of fun to play. So definitely check for that. If you watched this far, please consider leaving a comment with feedback. I love feedback. I thrive on feedback. I try to respond to every single comment, even if it's a silly comment, just to get it out of my comment queue. I'll often reply to it. So if you say something silly, as long as it's like polite and not like mean-spirited, I'm definitely going to respond. And then you can consider subscribing if you want. Let me know what you think about these videos I'm making. Like the more feedback I have, the better, because my goal is just to get better at Legacy and help you get better by watching me punt a whole lot like I did in this league. Like hopefully some of those mistakes I made, you're never going to make those because you're going to, oh yeah, I remember when Be Excellent made this mistake. I'm not going to make the mistake. Hopefully you'll be a better player for watching these. Hopefully it's not just entertainment where you're just like eating and you're like, I hope it is entertaining. I do my best to try to be entertaining. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to teach you how to get the most out of your Dragon Rage channelers and your Mishra's Baubles and your Delvers. I mean, there's just so much synergy in this deck. I can't help but admire the sheer amount of synergy. The Dazes, the Wastelands, the fact that, DRC holds this entire deck together. This card is just insane. I love this card. All right, until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.